There's one setting in Cedreo that instantly will make your designs look more professional, and almost nobody talks about it. That plus 6 more tips and tricks coming your way right now. So you guys can follow along using the link in the description. It's going to give you access to Cedreo, and they have an amazing free trial that you can test drive all these amazing features. So tip number 1 is to master the interface like a pro. When you get logged in, you're going to come in to create a new project, and we just give it a quick name, select your units, measurement unit, and then we'll come down and hit the draw button, and that's going to open up our drawing space. All right, so once you're in the drawing space, this is one of my favorite parts about Cedreo is the way that they've laid out all the buttons. Here at the very top, we have the sort of major categories, and it kind of takes you through the design process. So you start at the layout, then you work your wall openings, then you add a roof, work on exterior furnishings, all the way through the process, ending with putting your visuals together and then even making a little presentation for your clients if you so desire. So under that, we have the subcategories that pop up when you change from one category to the other. And then that kind of drills into the other details. And then the other main thing to pay attention to is the right panel here, where we're going to be given detail options to change things like texture and appearance and specific sizing of things. All right, so floor plan creation is tip number 2. We're gonna be talking first about using a trace image. They've drawn up like a little sketch of your house, or maybe you actually have a blueprint. This is a great place to start. And what you're gonna do is come over here to the right side when you have the layout and walls selected and say import your trace image. Go ahead and find your image and then import that. And now we come to the scaling, where we're gonna take these little blue dots and we're gonna put them on a longer section, like a larger section. And then, so in my example here, this is 29 feet. So we'll just put in 29 feet and hit validate. And now it's scaled our canvas to the trace image that we've just imported. Okay, so now we can go ahead and select wall, make sure our lot trace image is selected here over on the right-hand side, and then just go around the exterior walls of the space, clicking at each corner, and you can see how nicely it keeps us tracked to 90 degrees. So all the walls come in looking nice and neat, and then when we come even to another wall, it will give us that nice dashed line to tell us that we're even. And then once you complete it, it will actually close it for you. And if we turn off our trace image again, you can see we've got our exterior wall there. Now, obviously, if you didn't have a trace image, you can kind of visualize things in your head and just click around the canvas, maybe using the grids, and generate a floor plan that way. So the next step would be to put in the interior walls, which they're calling partition walls. And then you can change the default thickness of that if you'd like, if you are building with a certain spec. And then here, same sort of thing, you just kind of click around, and then when it creates a closed space, it's going to form another room. So now we have room 1 and room 2. And if we click into room 2, then we can change the name of this if we want. Maybe this is bedroom 1. Okay, so now we can move to the next step, which is going to be adding our wall openings. So when you click over here to wall openings, and we can open up this catalog here, and then we have some of our major categories. So let's add the exterior front door. Let's do a traditional front door. This one looks nice. We'll click on it, and then it gives you the dimension here to drag onto your layout. We'll just go ahead and pop that there. And then over on the right-hand side, we can tweak some of the details that we need. If you wanted to, you could come and there's some different options that you can add to this door. And then if you wanted to customize the color of it even further, we can change the handle color, the interior frame, the glass. So just because you see something here, it's really just the style. And even that you can tweak more. So their catalog really is very in-depth and has tons of options. Let's add a couple of arched windows here to this little bedroom. When you like something, you find something you like, all you have to do is hit the copy button if you want another one, and it will copy that same window with the same specs. And you can go ahead and pop that on the other side. So keep in mind, you have this 3D space up here. You can actually see the things that you're doing in real time and sort of move it around and see how it looks. Okay, so let's go to tip number 3, which is the roof. And again, it's our next category here up at the top. keeping us nice and organized. Now, for beginners, I recommend just doing the automatic roof detection. It's going to be the simplest, the easiest, and it gives you a little bit of customization still. We're going to be selecting the automatic roof detection, and then you select which kind of roof you want. We'll do the multi-slope roof, and you can see it's automatically selected our structure here with the green checkbox, and it will automatically put our roof on. Now, we do need to fix one thing, and that's the elevation. For some reason, by default, it's 11 3/4 inches. So we have to raise up our walls to be the correct height. So now things are looking like a house, except it looks kind of funny because it just comes right to the wall and then stops. So we need to add an overhang. How do we do that? So if you come back to here and you click on one of the edges, it's going to give us this edge parameter down here at the bottom. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to add an overhang. So we're just going to kind of click this up to add 4.5 inch overhang, and then it's asking us, do you want to apply this to all edges? Well, yes, we do. That would be very helpful. So boom, now we have the overhang, and it actually now looks like a house actually would. If you want to add an optional soffit to the bottom, you can do that. And again, it's going to ask you, do you want to do this to all edges? Yes, we do. Okay, so you can see that, that makes a big difference. This roof to me looks unproportional. So you can change the angle if you want to bring that down a little bit, and then that looks much better. The difference it makes to actually have a roof on for your visualizations. It's very important. All right, tip number 4 is furnishings. Furnishing your house with purpose. So furnishing can be tricky. You can go really crazy with this in Cedreo with all of the options, but my suggestion to you and my tip to you would be to just keep this simple, to give your clients just a feel of what could be in the home and enough to define a space without going overboard on decorating. When you click on furnishings, it's going to bring you to the ground floor, and then we need to turn the roof off so we can see what's going on. So we'll click this little hide the roof button, and now we can see into our walls here. Let's work on the living room, which is basically the first room you come into. So if we open the catalog, this is what I love about this. When you're in the furnishing section, it lays it out based on space. And so we're doing the living room. So here we are. Now we have all this great stuff that we need for a living room. Let's add a nice comfy corner sofa. This one looks pretty fun. We'll click that, and then we'll reorient it for our space. All right, maybe we need to add, we want to kind of help define the space. So we'll add a couple chairs. Let's add a couple cozy armchairs that kind of match the style of the couch. These look pretty nice. I'd like another one. So if we click on it and hit the copy button, it's going to give us another chair. Now, maybe we don't like the fabric on this chair. We want to change that. Yeah, there we go. We need to brighten it up a little bit. Now, when you change, if it senses that we have 2 chairs here, and so it asked us, do you want it for all that furniture? And we will say all, yes, we do. So now we have the 2 chairs, a nice couch, and let's add in a little coffee table to play in with our nice aesthetic here. And we'll add that coffee table in. Now, okay, oh, you're saying, well, man, that's really small. Well, don't worry, we can fix that. If you click on it and come over here, we can change our height, length, and width, and just increase this a little bit. We'll recenter it, and boom, now we have a nice coffee table. We've got a little bit of defined space there, and maybe we want to add a TV on the wall. Here's a Samsung wall-mounted TV. We'll just pop that baby right there on the wall. And now you've got yourself a living room that's cozy. Well, okay, maybe we need to add a little something in the corner. Let's add a nice little tree. How about an indoor plant? Yeah, like a little fiddly fig. There we go. So we didn't go crazy, but it was enough to define the space. Looking at what this was before to now, you can see just how much it's helped somebody walk into the space and visualize what it could look like with furniture. Tip number 5 is going to be our landscape design. And so you're going to click back over here to exterior, and then we have a few different options to add spaces. We could add paths, a driveway, a walkway. Let's add a driveway. Basically what you're going to do here is it's going to create a width for you, okay? And then again, watch kind of what's happening up in the 3D space. And then here again, we can customize how wide we want this. Okay, we can set that to come up right to the edge of the house. And then if we have ground terrain that's kind of like undulated, you can add different points of elevation to that. And then you can come over here and customize the color if it's maybe it's asphalt and we want it to just look like that. So now we have a place to park our car. All right, how about a walkway? So we want something to come up to the front door. Maybe we'll have this go over to the driveway like that. And then if you want to, oh, I didn't quite get it in front of the door, no problem. You just grab the points and reorient your path. All right, and then maybe we want it a little bit wider to accommodate the door. Very nice. Okay, so to add some landscaping or to come back to furnishings, come down to garden and deck. So we can add certain things. Maybe you want to show what it would look like if there was a vehicle parked here. If you come down to vegetation, now we can add some trees. Not sure what trees are native to this area, but we could add a tree over here. And again, guys, all this stuff is customizable on the right-hand panel. So you can change the colors and flowers and all sorts of stuff to make it look nice. Maybe we want another one of these shade trees for the other side of the house. So we'll just duplicate that. Put one over here. Maybe we'll shade our truck a little bit. Excellent. Okay, so now it actually looks like something. We've put some, so guys, it's kind of little things on the exterior to just add your touches. Again, you can go kind of wild with the design on here, but you can see all the different options that we have to really choose from and customize the exterior of your home. Okay, so tip number 6 is going to be all about our HD visual and getting that just right. And this is what I talked about in the intro. There is one setting that can really change the way your visuals come out. So first we're going to talk about camera views. So down here, Cedreo has 3 default views. The first one is eye level. So this would be like as if you were standing holding a camera in front of your property. And you can see up here in the right, we've got the camera that we can actually just kind of drag around and move and position. Now, if you wanted to, you can come click the little camera button and then you can change the elevation. So maybe you're 6'3", and then we can change the tilt a little bit if you wanted to get the angle just right. So the other perspective is our 3D view. So this would be like a drone shot, and then you can toggle the roof on or off by selecting ground floor and then roof on, roof off. So with the roof off, it kind of gives a neat perspective of seeing the house, but then also being able to kind of peek inside and look at the layout. So I think that's a really unique view. And then the other one that gives you like that kind of 3D layout is the top view. And that's just a nice top-down look at the layout of the home and how it flows. So once you select your camera view, or maybe you have multiple views that you want, the next most important thing is placing the sun, placing your lighting source. And so that's gonna be in this little sun subcap detail here, your own. You can bring your own background in here, or I'll show you one. This is like a big city. And this one we can change some of the different properties. And I'm gonna show you a good rendering and a not so good one. So the sun is very important. We don't want to take our pictures of our house when sun is directly overhead, right? You can see we get these weird like glares happening. This is going to turn out very poor. It's going to look unnatural. It'll change like the paint color of the outside. So don't do that. You want to make sure your sun is dusk or dawn, but you really want that kind of nice angle so you can clearly see the shadows. You can also change, we could tweak this to have it go on the other side of the house. And now we're getting these kind of nice shadows to come off the roof, and we can see the shadows on the trees. This is going to give us a really, really nice result. Let's go ahead and render this out for you guys and show you what this looks like. Okay, so our rendering finished. So we're just gonna go ahead and click over to the gallery and see that rendering come out. So you can see those shadows really play nice. It really makes the photo come alive. So guys, those are the tips and tricks I have for you. Thanks for sticking around. Put in the comments what you guys are working on and how you're using Cedreo. I'd love to know, I'd love to hear. And let me know if there's something else that you'd like to see next. All right guys, take care.